Have you ever thought, is this just me when struggling to stay organized, start tasks, or manage time? For those of us over 50, these challenges might not be just aging. They could be ADHD hiding in plain sight for decades. I'm Jami Shapiro, host of Grandma Has ADHD, and I'm building a community where your experiences matter. Whether you're diagnosed, questioning, or simply curious, you're not alone. Our Facebook group is filled with vibrant, understanding people over 50 who share their stories, strategies, and yes, even their struggles, with plenty of laughter along the way. Ready to find your people? Join our growing Grandma Has ADHD Facebook community. Please like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen and share it with someone who might need to hear they're not alone, because ADHD doesn't have an age limit and neither does understanding yourself better. Together, we're changing the conversation about ADHD after 50. Come be part of the story. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Grandma Has ADHD. I am very excited to introduce you to a guest who has been here before and one who I am very appreciative of because he is quite respected in the ADHD space. I met him at the International ADHD Conference where he was a thought leader presenter, and he has been wonderful in introducing me to a lot of people who are in the older adult ADHD space. But he reached out to me because he has something really exciting that I'm excited to learn about and wanted to share it with you. So today I have the privilege of speaking with Jeff Copper, a credentialed ADD, ADHD, and life coach whose personal journey is as inspiring as it is relatable. Jeff's story begins in childhood when he was diagnosed with dyslexia and learning disabilities, challenges that would shape his entire approach to helping others. But his challenges didn't end with school. In the corporate sales career, he faced familiar struggle of meeting goals and quotas while dealing with the isolation that comes from feeling different. Like so many of us, he searched everywhere for professionals who truly understood his specific needs, only to find that there really isn't a one-size solution. So his breakthrough came when he was trying to fit into everyone else's box and started doing things his way. When other coaches were writing books and starting blogs, he created Attention Talk Radio, and it's been far more successful than many traditional approaches. He does not like labels. He coaches people. He focuses on understanding and natural processes and showing how your way of thinking can become your greatest strength. So, Jeff, there's a lot there, but I wanted to especially bring you on first to hear your story and then to talk about Intangible Accommodation Axiom. And for anyone who is watching on YouTube, I have a dog, Benji, who has been properly walked and fed, but has decided that, when I am doing something, that is kind of like a 2-year-old. That's when he needs my attention. So if you saw him pop in, what it does is because I have ADHD, it throws off my attention. And because I keep it real, here we are. So Jeff, you saw Benji pop in. Now you know.
First of all, that was a beautiful way of keeping it real. Like you did a hell of a good job on that. And second of all, everybody, I provide bios and people kind of read them, although you're not listening for my bio. And usually I'm like, just whatever. And Jami put that together. Can I have that when you're done?
Yes.
It was better than anything I've ever written. So anyway,
Okay.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for what you do. You were thanking me for helping you, but I'm really not helping you. I'm really helping other people because this Grandma Has ADD is such a space that nobody's really talked about. And there's so many people out there that are of age that are suffering that don't know what's going on. And there's not a lot of really good information. It's really not like I'm trying to help you. It's like it was a given, like it's needed. So thank you for what you do. And thank you for having me on.
I appreciate that. And I do want to confess, if we're keeping it real, that Claude is one of my accommodations, and it's an AI tool, and it has been game changing for me in my experience with ADHD. And I am an amazing writer. I mean, that's my super talent. But I took your bio from your website and I said, hey, Claude, I have a guest on Grandma Has ADHD. Can you condense the bio? And then I'm pretty good extemporaneously. And I just sort of changed it a little bit. So anyway, I appreciate, but I don't like to take credit. There's my sense of social justice. I don't like to take credit if I didn't do it. So, but I did read it. I did read it. So
That's
thank
great.
you, Jeff. I appreciate
Thank
it. And
you.
you're right. This is a message. It's been amazing for me the more I'm speaking to people who work in with seniors and bringing this information to them. And there isn't a single time that I speak that someone's light bulb doesn't go off and they realize that they
Yep.
likely have ADHD. And I had a woman stand up at a presentation last week and say, "You just saved my marriage." So, especially this generation of people who did not get diagnosed because it was only the little boy and they would outgrow it. So, you've got boomer women and Gen X women and silent generation women who, like to use your terms, hiding in plain sight their whole lives.
Yep.
So, anyway, so tell me a little bit about your story because if people haven't listened to the episode, which we'll try to link into the show notes, but a lot of people just want to hear it from the
Yep.
beginning. Just give me a little bit of your ADHD story, and then I want to hear how we got to what we're doing today.
Sure. Absolutely. So I'm in my 60s now. I was born in the 60s. I got diagnosed with dyslexia in 1972. In fact, I still have the letter from the diagnosis. And when my dad or my parents went in and they got the letter from the doctor, they said, okay, great. He's got dyslexia. Now what do we do? And the
Mm,
guy said, well, find out what he's interested in and throw all your money at it, which is a funny thing. But I was somewhat athletic back in those days. And fast forward, I'm in high school. I live in Northern Virginia. I live an hour from a swimming pool where I used to train 4 hours a day. I would wake up and drive an hour into Fairfax, Virginia, swim 2 hours, drive home back to school, drive back into school when school is over with, swim for 2 hours and come home. And I did that for basically high school. Before those years, my parents had to drive me. And so that's the dedication stuff that they did. Fortunately, my athletic career was substantial enough to get me on into college with a college scholarship, because had I
wow.
not done that, I didn't have I graduated from high school on my own, but I didn't take college prep. Like I couldn't handle Spanish. I still can't handle English. And chemistry was just too much. So I was just trying to get through. Once I got into college, and by the way, in high school and summer, there's always these tutors and stuff like that. I won't go into the details, but every time I was with them, they got frustrated and I got frustrated. And they didn't think I was trying and I was trying. I just didn't know what was going on.
Right.
When I got to college, I remember the first semester I was in tears because they put me in sociology of sport. It's a social class that was basically looking at soccer around the world to understand the concepts. And the reading was off the charts. And I'm just in tears because I can't keep up with it. And finally, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And so I started reading just the first line of each paragraph. In social books, they're like run on. So I just ran the first top line and skimmed through it, and then went to class and took notes and was able to get a decent grade. And so from that point in time forward, I finally departed. I just said, screw whatever else is saying, I'm not going to do it. Also, there was a term paper that I had to write. And rather than go to the library and do research, I said, wait a second, I can go interview the soccer coaches, right?
Ah,
And quote them. And so my research was done verbally, not by going to the library and reading. So I went out into the world to try to do the thing. And I just really started listening to myself and doing what I thought. So I end up in ADHD coaching, which is a longer story to kind of get into. And I found my home. I had got diagnosed with ADHD much later in life. Like I think I was like 35 or something like that. I will
mhm,
tell you that dyslexia is really my bigger problem. But when I got into the world and doing this by myself, I got into coaching and the creativity that's necessary to help people. And then when I had to get into the marketing of everything back then, you had to write a blog or you had to do a book. And I'm like, I can't write because this
mm,
dyslexia is difficult. So I started my podcast. And little did I know that I was going to get an education from the foremost experts in the world that you can't get from a book. So it's been
mhm,
15 years. I've had produced an episode every week for that period of time. And along the way, it was interesting. I was at a conference in 2011, listening to Dr. Barkley talk about ADHD and arguing that it was an executive functioning impairment. And at the time, if you took a test for executive functions and you had ADHD, it didn't show up as an impairment. And he was like, this is crazy. And so he argued from 7 different points of view scientifically how it had to be an executive function. So it's either it's not an executive function or all the tests are wrong. So he started taking a look at the test and he started taking a look at the definition of executive function. And I quote, it was a dog's breakfast, like anything goes. So he set out to define executive functions very precisely so we could determine what is and is not in an executive function. And I was enamored with it, saying, yeah, spot on. Of course, he says, well, where do you go on something like that? And he said he started with self-regulation because all the experts agreed self-regulation was a major one. So he defined executive functions and it morphed a couple times and changed. But at the end of the day, I was like, I've been studying it for years and saying, there's something about this. Along the way, I figured out ways to put people in simulated experiences so that they could understand what Dr. Barkley's saying. So if I had you make a meal, eat a meal, and clean a meal up, if you really focus on that experience, you're going to have to be self-aware every second of that exercise. It takes a lot of energy. You're going to
Mhm.
have to calm down because you're going to get frustrated. You're going to have to restrain your urge to use your thumb and hand. These are all executive functions specifically defined by Dr. Barkley. So
Wait, before you go, because I wanna make sure that for anybody that doesn't, especially people that are new to this conversation, can you define executive function for people so they have a good
absolutely.
understanding? Okay.
So, and this is important. I'm glad you got there. Executive functions, according to Dr. Barkley's model, because there's other models out there, they are a collection of mind tools that we use to work towards a goal over time. Now, that's his model. I like to simplify it. It's a collection of mind tools that we use to solve problems.
Okay.
Walking does not require executive functions. Eating doesn't. Daydreaming doesn't. Judging doesn't. We're specifically talking about solving everyday problems. And what I've simplified it is problems have two characteristics that are important. They're multifaceted, and at some level, there's some ambiguity to it. Now, think about that. Multifaceted and ambiguous. What's planning? It's multifaceted and ambiguous. How about
Mhm.
managing time? It's multifaceted and ambiguous. How about making a decision? Like all of a sudden, wait a second. Everything that everybody's having a hard time with is multifaceted and ambiguous. In fact, I've gotten cocky enough to say, is Jamie, when people call me up for the first time inquiring about coaches, I'll just say, basically, I can guarantee about 80% of your procrastination list at some levels rooted in ambiguity. I go on and state there's a high correlation between uncertainty and avoidance, but there's also a high correlation between clarity and motivation. As long as it's not boring, if you know what to do, you'd be surprised at
Mm.
it, which is very insightful because people come all the time that I need motivation. I'm like, no, you don't. You need clarity. Get the clarity and the motivation will come. And so these are just little insights that I'm sharing with you that if you go back and take a look at yourself and what you're doing, I'm explaining a lot of what the problems and stuff are. And that's the brilliance of his model. It sheds so much light on what's going on. And what's more is it brings to the notion that ADHD is an executive function and impairment. One
Mhm.
of the problems is if you don't think something's in an impairment, you're not actually solving for the underlying problem. You're just trying to be like somebody you're not. I
Mhm.
hear on the internet, like, I feel like I'm an imposter. Well, you are, in my opinion. If you have ADHD and you're trying to be like a neurotypical, well, you have an impairment. Like, I might want to be able to read, but I can't. I need my glasses as an accommodation. And so, setting the stage, this and studying Dr. Barkley's model, I really come to look at ADHD as an impairment. When I'm working with people, we define the executive functions. I try to help them see, and then we problem solve. And today, what I really wanted to come here is focus on a program that I put together, which is kind of complicated. I'm not going to lie to details. It's called Cognitive Ergonomics from the Inside Out. It's a new field of engineering. Cognitive ergonomics exists, but this is from the inside out. But what we've used is this program as a means to look at ADHD and identify accommodations that are universal that help people with ADHD. And we don't have research on it yet, but I've turned to what we call axioms. I don't know if you remember in school, you had proofs, you had theorems. I hated that stuff, but
And
we'll,
that's
we'll,
why I tuned out.
yeah, we'll throw out the complicated words. But basically, I'm going to walk through this axiom and I want to talk about because coming here today, I wanted to let people know what this is all about and explain the ramifications of it. So basically, it goes like this, and this is what we call our intangible accommodation axiom. Executive functions are a collection or ADHD is an executive functioning impairment. Executive functions are a collection of mind tools that we use to solve problems. Problems are multifaceted and ambiguous.
Mhm.
So people with ADHD have trouble with planning, making decisions, managing time, etc., because they're multifaceted. Thus,
Mhm.
we understand why they struggle.
Mhm.
Here's the cool part. The leading views in cognitive science agree that language was derived as a means to solve shared problems. Think about it. It
Mhm.
would have never come about.
Mhm.
There was never a need for it, except for as a community of humans, we needed to solve shared problems.
I'm gonna pause with you for a second. I am so sorry. Do you hear the barking?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna pause. I'm gonna deal with that. Hey there, amazing listeners. Get ready because something incredible is coming your way. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss this. I am thrilled to announce my very first virtual book signing event for This Explains So Much. And here is the best part, I'm not doing this alone. I'll be joined by someone extra special, my mom, Vicki Armel. That's right, it's going to be a family affair, and we're going to have an absolute blast. Mark your calendars because This Explains So Much will be available for purchase on Amazon starting October 1st, just in time for ADHD Awareness Month. That gives you plenty of time to dive into the pages, absorb all those aha moments, and come ready for our interactive book club discussion. Whether you're sipping your afternoon coffee on the West Coast at 4 p.m. or settling in with your evening tea on the East Coast at 7 p.m., we've got you covered. We will be live on Sunday, October 26th. This isn't just any book signing, it's your chance to connect with me and my mom, ask questions, share your thoughts, and be part of a community that gets it. Because honestly, this really does explain so much, and I can't wait to explore it all with you. So grab your copy on October 1st, start reading, and get ready for an incredible virtual experience on October 26th. Trust me, you belong here, and we can't wait to see your faces on screen. Until then, keep being awesome, and remember, the best stories are the ones we discover together. See you October 26th. Ever wondered why helping a loved one declutter feels like speaking different languages? I did, especially with my mom. It wasn't until I founded Silver Linings Transitions, helping San Diego seniors organize and move for over a decade, that I discovered why. We all experience clutter differently, and for those of us with ADHD, it's a whole other world. If you are listening in the San Diego area and feeling stuck with moving, paperwork, photos, or home organization, our team at Silver Linings Transitions gets it. We understand ADHD's unique challenges, and we won't just help you get organized, we'll create sustainable systems that finally stick. Schedule a consultation with our team today at 760-522-1624. That's 760-522-1624, or find us at silverliningstransitions.com. So, thank you for indulging my pause. I have to share with the audience that Benji, my dog, there's no safe place to record this house. No matter what I do, something is going to happen. Welcome to ADHD, right? There's just always some unpredictable thing that happens. But as Jeff acknowledged, you're keeping it real. And I said, Jeff, when I keep it real and I show people that it's okay to go out into the world and not be perfect, then that allows you to do the same. And so thank you for acknowledging that. And to all of you who are listening, you do not have to be perfect. In fact, in ADHD coaching, we say perfect poisons progress. So anyway, and since we did go ahead and take the pause, I just want to invite everybody, if you are enjoying this podcast, to like it and share it with your friends and subscribe and give comments. And Jeff will definitely put his contact information out verbally and we'll put it into the show notes. But You were distracted from what you were saying. Are you gonna be able to get back to it?
100%.
Awesome. I love it. I do want to say one more thing that when you were talking before you go on, something that you said about your doctor saying to your parents when they gave you the dyslexic diagnosis that that you needed to find something that you were interested in, which is really so ahead of its time because ADHD is interest driven. And if we are interested in something, we can get it done, whether it's write a book, swim, even if it
Yep.
means you have to drive an hour every day. And that's such a misconception about ADHD is that, we can't focus on
Yep.
anything. Not true if it interests us. And so I think that was pretty brilliant, even though I don't know that your doctor knew the
No,
association
no,
behind
well, no, part of the underlying thing on it is if he's interested, he's good at do it because of self-esteem and confidence issues. That's the underlying driver of it. It's not just the interest, but if he's there and support him at what he does because he needs that level of confidence in that part of his world to anchor some of the other stuff. And as time went on, when swimming wasn't going good, my life was a wreck. When it was going
yeah.
fine, everything else was stable. So anyway,
Yeah,
so
and I do also want to say that ADHD, a lot of the issue with it is that there's so much self-esteem and shame is tied up to it. And even in a group full of successful people who have ADHD, when you ask the question, do you have that negative voice in your head? Do you have imposter
yep,
syndrome? It's
yep.
just inevitable, unfortunately. But especially for my audience of people who are coming to this conversation later in life, you were diagnosed at 35. I was 45. Now I'm talking to women who are 65, 75 years old that are realizing
Mhm.
it. So, okay, we'll go back. I digress. Thank you.
So let's come back to the shame thing because part of today is to help reveal the mystery on that. So we're walking through the logic of this thing that I'm discussing. And where we are is when we go back, the leading views of cognitive science is that language is actually derived socially to solve shared problems. Like,
Mhm,
I'm hungry. I need to eat. I can't kill that thing unless Jamie, you go on the other side of it and we kind of corner it. All right. So
mhm,
when you think about that, if language was derived to solve shared problems, back then direct communication, face-to-face interaction is the most basic form of solving problems.
mhm,
Stop and think about this. If ADHD is a problem-solving impairment, language was derived specifically to solve problems, and direct communication is the most fundamental form, then it's a universal accommodation. All human beings have been using it for thousands of years to solve thousands of years. But what I'm coming to say is that if ADHD is an executive functioning impairment, logically, those with ADHD would need to problem solve directly more than neurotypicals. Neurotypicals already do this. The issue is because of the impairment, those with ADHD would need more. This transforms the way we look at ADHD and public policy. Could you imagine if I can get this adopted with Americans with Disabilities Act and you're at work having the employer have somebody work with you in the morning to talk about what you're going to get done that day as an
mm,
accommodation?
mm. Yeah.
It's not about behavioral training. It's about having that accommodation. And so one of the things I'm going to digress a little bit, a lot of people with ADHD, they talk a lot. Okay. Dr.
No,
Barkley,
that's not true.
Dr. Barkley's model, I'm oversimplifying it. Executive functions are a collection of mind tools to solve problems. Working memory is a subset. Verbal working memory, which is self-talk, which is one of his executive functions, is part of it. Because it's impaired, many with ADHD, not to talk is not to think. They'll talk, talk, talk sometimes to people. They'll solve their own problem without the other person saying anything.
Mhm.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying is that this is kind of interesting because nobody taught them how to do it. They learn to do that instinctively because they're rewarded with higher levels of performance. And
Mm,
in our world as ADHD coaches, we talk about verbal processes all the time. So having the ability to talk out loud with somebody to solve problems is like kind of revolutionary because we don't think in those terms. Now, what's interesting, Jamie, and I want to get to some stuff, is anytime you got a problem, if it's ADHD or anything else, where are you sent? To go have direct conversations. So if you're at school and you have a problem, you go to the tutor, talk to the teacher. You go to
Mhm.
tutor, special ed teachers. You're
Mhm.
going to them to have direct conversation to help you figure
Mhm.
out how to solve those problems. You go to therapist, you go to coaching. Coaching, their direct conversations, particularly coaching, because it's goal oriented. In the workplace, you have mentors, you have one on ones. You begin to think about it. The go to accommodation when everybody's struggling is to have a direct conversation with somebody else. And what I'm grateful for, you're giving me the platform that I can say this accommodation has been hidden in plain sight for thousands of years. Yet, emotionally, Dr. Barkley's model explains this. People don't want to need help, so they refrain from going to get help. They feel
Mhm.
shame asking or needing to go talk out loud. And so, what I'm trying to say is just look around you. Neurotypicals are doing it too, all the
Mhm.
time. You go to meetings at work, you're solving problems, it's everywhere. And if you start to take a look at your successes in your life, a lot of times, and there's some nuances to this, is that you'll find is that some of the times there's when you had help and other people working with. And so it's one of those things that's so ubiquitous. It's obvious, but emotionally we don't see it because neurotypicals, they judge the world through the lens of their own experience. They need it, but you need it more. They don't get why you need it more. And so for people with ADHD, if I can give them permission to go do this, they can go do it and they can thrive. My mom said for years, success solves a lot of problems, right?
Mhm.
So if you struggle with ADHD and I can give you the logic, like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and help encourage people to go solve those problems and they notice that it works, we can reverse that cycle. But here's what's particularly motivating to me and why I'm so grateful having you having me on the show to talk about this. I cannot tell you how many times I've been coaching people that are coming to me later in life. Your sweet spot. They had a family. They went through school. They got married. They had a family. They have kids. And as time going on, the kids are kind of gone. They're no
Mhm.
longer going to work. And maybe
Mhm.
there's been a divorce or a death in the family. And now they
Mhm.
find themselves all by themselves. They're
Mhm.
struggling more with ADHD than they did before. Now,
Mhm.
certainly age doesn't help ADHD, but they're dumbfounded. I'm going, well, if you realize is that the accommodation was built into your world, it's just no longer there. If you can
Mhm.
go and we can recreate that world, you can get back to what you were doing.
Mm.
You're struggling with that a little bit, but let's pause for a second. What I've just described, this intangible accommodation axiom, begins to explain certain quotes. Like Thomas Brown said many years ago, as the need for independent work increases, ADHD productivity decreases. Hmm. Annie Rogers, the general manager at Attitude Magazine, was in a newsletter, I think in April, and she said ADHD is amplified or muted based off of the environment. What would explain that? People.
Mm.
Before, when the pandemic hit, just before, well, kind of at lockdown, I was thinking, I'm going to be out of job in 60 days because I'm a privileged. I'm not cheap. Like people are going to struggle with this. And I'm like, I was preparing for the worst. That was wrong. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree.
Mhm.
People were calling and they were saying, I'm not motivated. I'm not productive. And I was
Mhm.
arguing, oh no, you were going to work in school. The intangible accommodation, the invisible accommodation that's in that environment that's no longer there anymore was you had people that you were interacting, you didn't know it. So nothing changed. You're as motivated, but because of the impairment, problem solving became harder and you began to
Mhm.
escape to other things. And like when you start to think about this, it's kind of like, oh my God, the world's not flat. It's actually round. Like we think about this, and it's like, again, I like using the word, it's hidden in plain sight. But Dr. Barkley's model and some of the things that I've been doing are the first things that we've been able to use to bring tangibility to actually see what's been there for a long time. And
Mhm.
again, what I think is really relevant for the crowd that you work with, because you're passionate about helping these people, and I think sometimes they're suffering more. It's that if you've had people in your world and they're not there anymore, getting back out and finding the people to collaborate with is really, really helpful. And by the way, when you go out into the world, sometimes people get intimidated, like, oh my God, you think you're going out asking for help and like, you're like, poor little me. But there's a lot of people out there that like affirmation. They like to mentor. They really like to help you. And as long as they don't tell you what to do, in other words,
Mhm.
you say, listen, I need to brainstorm on how to do this. I'm not looking for the answer. I would be interested in your experience. When you ask somebody for advice and they
Mhm.
give it to you, it's implied that you do it and you feel pressure. But if you say, what's your experience? You can take what you like and leave
Mhm.
what you like. And
Mhm.
so going full circle is this revelation is that having direct conversation in the face of problem solving is a game changer. It's hidden in plain sight. Think about it. You come home, it's a Friday, you look at your spouse and say, what are we doing this weekend? You start talking about what you're going to do. You're making a plan.
Mhm.
If you'll notice, decluttering is far more cognitively effortful than you realize. When you take a look at an item, you say, do I need that or not? About 10% of the time, it's clearly trash.
Mhm.
The time you're like, yeah, I need that.
Mhm.
80% of what's left, I don't know. Here's the real challenge though. Where's its home? In other words, if you're going to put it somewhere, where are you going to put it where you're going to remember it?
Mhm.
That's multifaceted and ambiguous. I remember I was coaching a guy in New York City one time. He was in a studio apartment. I knew he had a small kitchen. And I called him up and he's like, hey, I had a birthday over the weekend. He said, it's kind of cool. I got a waffle maker. And I said, well, where the hell are you going to put that? Because I already knew he
Mhm.
didn't have a big kitchen. He
Uh-huh.
goes, I don't know. I guess I'll put it under my bed.
Which
Well,
you'll never
coach,
remember.
well, that's coaching ends. 2 years later, I get an email from, hey, Jeff, I found my waffle maker. It's under my bed. The cognitive, my point of this is when he's stopping to think, where am I going to put this? And I'm going to remember that that's using your executive functions and you're trying to solve a problem that is so difficult that you just escape it. So a lot of times clutter, everything is where its home is where it's actually laying. And I'm not trying to justify it, but if you've noticed, whenever you declutter with somebody else, you're collaborating and it's helping you
Mhm.
make decisions to put stuff away. So how can you
Mhm.
implement what I've been talking about tomorrow? Declutter. If you try, when you organize anything, most people don't think about this. To organize anything, there's multiple ways to organize it.
Mhm.
The first thing you should do is think of all the ways I could organize it, which one should I do first? Typically, you're using your working memory. Then once you choose an organizational system, you organize within it. All too often, that thinking of all the different organizational systems or the way you could do it is too difficult. So people escape and they dive into an app, not realizing it's not going to work because they didn't think through it. However, if you'll notice, if you ever sit down with people and you're working with them together, a lot of times it makes it easier for you to organize and establish systems. Again, I'm just describing what's worked for thousands of years. And again, anything I'm saying is a it's not going to work in every sense, but the generality is it works if you take a look at it. And there's some exceptions to that. And the point really is if I can say, listen, my axiom validates what you're doing, you can see that it's hidden in plain sight. You've got ADHD. Look at all the times where you were getting some help, it worked. If you can let go and actually embrace this, it's a game changer, a game changer.
So, just so that I can make sure that I follow and the audience follows, what you're basically saying is that you need to be willing to ask for that help, have somebody, especially if for those people who are living by themselves, their kids have left, their spouse has died, or they're divorced, they don't have that person to bounce ideas off of. And it is totally okay to say, hey, I could use a sounding board or
Yep.
somebody to process this with. Am I getting that right?
100%. So let me give you some language. Hey, Jamie, you got a
Hi,
minute?
Beth.
Hey, you're a thought leader. I'm trying to work through a marketing thing on motivation. I was wondering if I could kind of pick your brain for a couple minutes or you could help me think through it.
Absolutely.
Now, notice what I did. As I said, you're a thought leader.
Yeah, you gave me that pat.
Yeah, people like that.
Oh, yeah.
They like affirmation. They like to be
Mhm,
looked up to. And it's true. I'm
mhm,
not lying. I would do that with you. I kind of done that with you before in the past, right? And
mhm,
I'm saying, can you help me think through this, right? Or, hey, bro, listen, can I borrow your brain for a minute? I do that to my brother all the time, right? I need to talk out loud through something with him, but I'm calling, hey, can I borrow your brain? Or hey, can I bounce my logic off of you? I was
Mhm.
thinking this. These are very simple ways that you're approaching people. I know I'm doing it.
Mm.
I'm calling to talk out loud. I did this morning with one of my virtual assistants, and I said, "You're not going to solve my problem, but I need to brainstorm on this a little bit and talk out loud. And if anything like stands out to you, let me know." So I'm asking permission. I explained what I was doing. She was happy to do it. And a couple times in the past where she done it, she's actually pulled out a nugget that I didn't expect that really helped me. And again, you'll noticing my approach is kind of borrow your brain, kind of you got a moment, kind of talk through something with you, acknowledging you. People actually do this in
Mhm.
the
Oh,
regular world, but a lot of people are you're so focused on, oh my God, I'm so needy or I'm so vulnerable. You look past the fact that this happens all the time. And if you can begin to see it, just say, hey, Jamie, you got a minute? Can I talk out loud? You might say no because you're busy, or you'd say yes. But if you say no, I go find somebody else. If you say yes, I was given permission to do it. And again, as long as I'm doing that, it can be as simple as that. And it really can be a game changer. In fact, I like to tell you the story. It's a true story.
okay.
I'm coaching this guy. He's flipped houses in real estate, and he had a business partner when he started, but they separated. And so he's starting to have some issues. And I'm talking to him, and we call people that talk out loud verbal processors. And I was like, we were coaching one day and I got to the end of it. I'm like, you're processing out loud. He says, I don't like to be a verbal processor. So I don't know what to tell you. It's an accommodations. We got off the
Mhm.
phone. 5 days later, he calls me. Hey, Jeff. Hey, man, how you doing? Great. Guess what? What? I'm driving down the road and I'm kind of like, I'm going circles on a problem. Like I've been on all morning and all of a sudden, like you're like sitting on my shoulder going, dude, you're a verbal processor. And I'm like, ugh. He said, I looked up and I saw a Walmart sign. I said, yeah.
Mhm.
He said, I pulled in and I walked into the Walmart and said, you know what they have in Walmarts? What? They got greeters. I go, yeah, they do.
Uh-huh.
I walked up and the Walmart greeter said, hey, can I help you? He said, yeah. Where are your mops? Actually, tell you what, can I talk out loud for a minute? The guy said, yes. He said, I talked to the guy for 90 seconds. I solved my own problem, thanked him, and I'm calling you from the parking lot.
I
Now,
love it.
this is a funny story in as much as you can find strangers and do something like that. Yeah, the guy helped them. But you're not gonna see that stuff that's hidden in plain sight if you're not recognize it or if you have an emotional resistance. The moment you cross over and you own it, you can begin to see all this stuff. And, Jamie, one of the things we speak at a lot of summits and webinars and stuff like that. There's a lot of thought leaders out there. And if you ever watch most of them and listen to their story, most of them have surrendered to the
Mm,
fact that they have ADHD
yes.
and they've got a team of people around them to help them and they
Yes.
thrive.
Yes.
And
Right.
again,
Yeah.
if you'll hear, I'm beating this drum. If you've got ADHD, a lot of times it's surrendering yourself to the impairment and embracing really
Yes.
using other people. And it's like a monkey will jump off your back. And what my hope is that you had me on today, and then I'm reaching one, maybe two people that go, oh my God, how did I not see that? And they let go of their emotions and they begin to experiment with this. And as they do it, I think that we could change a couple people's lives today just for the opportunity of helping reveal what's been hidden in plain sight for thousands of years.
Yeah. I love this because I'm sitting here, of course, thinking of myself. And by the way, I did not interrupt you, which when you have ADHD, somebody gets excited about something.
Yep.
And before we started our conversation, I wish, speaking of accommodations, I said, let me grab my paper and pen so I don't forget anything because that's always my concern. Like you say something and I'm going to totally, and I sometimes wish I could go through life with that paper and pen just always in my hand. But I will tell you a couple of things. First of all, when I speak now to audiences, even if it's not on ADHD, which I speak a lot on decluttering and downsizing and organizing, and I will start the conversation with, I just want to let you know I have ADHD. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to see me lose a word. I'm going to be standing, you're going to see me lose a thought. If your phone goes off, and I said, I used to take a sip of water and stand there and panic and try to think, what was I saying? What was I saying? Now I'm just going to ask you what I was saying. And everybody laughs and they support me and they cheer me on. And that's a big part of my why is, hey, this is the way our
Yes.
brains were made. It's not a bad brain. It's just a brain. I love Ned Hallowell, Ferrari brain, bicycle brakes analogy. So let's stop beating ourselves or calling it a disorder. So, number one. But back to what you were saying about the verbal processing, I am a verbal processor. I will call my manager of my company and start telling her things that I really shouldn't be telling her yet, right? Like, I'm just thinking about it and I'm just going through it. So you're like, now I'm understanding why I'm doing so much of that. But I wanted to share two other things. One is I remember listening to a podcast when the man said, "How many of you like to ask for help?" And he said, less than 10% of people will raise their hand and say they like to ask for help. But then he asked the audience, "How many of you like to give help?" And it's the majority of the audience. We are giving somebody a gift when we allow them to help us. And we need to remember that. So we're a reciprocal society.
Yes. Stop. Everybody. Did you hear what she just said?
I
Say it
heard
again
it.
slowly. Say it again slowly, Jamie.
That most of us don't feel comfortable asking for help. We will not ask for it. Yet, the majority of us want to be helpful to other people. We feel good about that. And we are a reciprocal society. And so we're giving somebody a gift when we ask them for help.
Yeah. So everybody, did you hear what she said? All of you are having an emotional reaction because you don't want to ask for help. But if you look at the evidence, it is completely opposite of your feelings, which, by the way, your feelings, I talk about feelings as being the physical manifestation of an emotion. An emotion is really nothing more than a reflex.
Hmm.
Your feelings are a survival mechanism, but they betray you. They betray you often. And this is a perfect example. What Jamie just said, take it to the bank. People want to help you. Sorry, Jamie, I just had to, that was just brilliant. I had to make sure that everybody
I
got that.
love
So
that. I love that. And that's so true. So thank you for pulling that back. And that's also why I don't want to do this podcast by myself. I could sit here and, I've done, I think, 2 episodes on my own. It's not my thing. I need this. And then the one other thing that I wanted to say was a perspective that I learned. And that is like, here's my finger on my nose. You see the finger on my nose,
yep,
right? I can't see the finger on my nose, right? Until it's pulled away. And so you are able to look at me from a distance that I cannot see when I'm only in my field of vision. So I also think, I mean, there's so much to it. We could go on and on about like we are pack animals. We are meant to be with other people. I mean, that's how we are created. We can't even reproduce without another person, right? Like that's just who we are.
100%, 100%, 100%. So
So I think I really like this. You're right. This was an aha, a definite aha. And I want to say one more thing about the decluttering because you just hit my zone of expertise. And for people with ADHD, the reason that we struggle so much more with clutter is to your point, we are out of sight, out of mind. So if we don't see it, we don't remember that we have it. And one of the things that I tell people is when you are decluttering, think of the first place you would go to put it and put it there. And if you don't even remember that you have it, maybe you don't really need it.
well said. Very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said.
So this was an amazing interview again. I took a big nugget away from you the last time with technology, by the way, when we discussed that we're technological tourists in a technologically native land for our children and grandchildren. And
Yep.
anyway, so anything else? First of all, how can people find you? I know you're Dig
Yeah.
Coaching.
My website is Dig Coaching Practice. If you go there, you can access my YouTube channel, my podcast, my blogs, and all that stuff. If the fundamental concept that I'm here and you're like an inquiring mind or even an engineer like stuff, if you click on services, I have a program called Cognitive Ergonomics from the Inside Out. It's a new field of engineering. I have a program. It's observational training program. It's really just basically using attention scope and Dr. Barkley's model in a way that you can look at ADHD in a very factual way. It's incredibly revealing. It's a game changer. And I'm trying to get special ed teachers, therapists, doctors, HR specialists, disability specialists. It's really for anybody. So again, if you just like the outcome, that's great. If you're really curious, check that out. The last thing that I want to kind of wrap up with that I come on these things a lot and people like, they want actionable items. How can I translate this? And what I really want to emphasize is you can translate it by just looking around and recognizing that people want you to come ask for help, that in your life, you've been successful when you collaborate with other people, and that most of what's got you kind of shut down are your emotional reaction to this. So the trick really is, can you see the evidence and look at the facts to override your feelings to implement what works? As I tell people, I can tell you this all day long, but facts are facts and they're undisputed. The question is, if you go out in your world and you look at the facts, you might find that your feelings are deceiving you. Can you cross over? Because there's a whole different world on the other side. And so you can implement this every day, but the underlying challenge, the hidden challenge is your emotional reaction and resistance to want help. And I'm saying is that look at all the people with ADHD that are successful. They've surrendered themselves. They got help around. You can do it too.
Absolutely. This is a great interview. Thank you so much. And I can tell you're lit up. And when somebody with ADHD has like found the thing,
Yep.
it is infectious. And that's one of the things I do love about our brains is that we're able to sort of like look at where's something missing that I could put the pieces together or where can I solve a problem? And that's, as you know, is a big part of my journey and story. So thank you all for listening. Jeff, I had shared with you, I have a book that is coming out October 1st. So I have been putting a lot of energy into that, but I am planning to go back to my Grandma Has ADHD Facebook community now that the book is off my plate and really, really help other people find community and find each other. So find us at the Grandma Has ADHD Facebook page. And again, please like and subscribe this podcast and share it because it's the only way we're ever going to get the word out that ADHD does not stop when we are no longer little boys, right?
And Jamie, again, on behalf of the ADHD community, particularly elderly, thank you for what you do. You're a great asset and a true gem. So thank you.
I appreciate that. So, again, thank you all for tuning in and recognize that life doesn't stop because you have ADHD and there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. It's just all about learning how to really utilize this magnificent brain you were born with. So, thanks so much. All right. The opinions expressed on Grandma Has ADHD podcast are those of our guests and hosts and are intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. This podcast does not provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The content discussed in this episode is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician, mental health professional, or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or mental health concern. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. The host, guests, and producers of Grandma Has ADHD do not assume any liability for the content of this podcast. Listen at your own discretion.